Welcome to Confessions of a Wannabe It Girl. I'm your host, Marley Fregging, and I'm here to help you filter out all the bullshit and become the next It Girl. This podcast explores the reality of what it really takes to make it out there. As it turns out, it is way less Instagrammable than I thought it was going to be. I'm still very much a work in progress, but there's simply nothing else I'd rather be doing than chasing my dreams. So let's learn from my mistakes and work together to achieve our dreams with more confidence, clarity, and direction. Let's get after it. Well, first of all, welcome Jolie and Avery, the co-founders of Bach Boss. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thanks.
Thank you for having us.
Excited.
I'm so excited to have you guys on. But first of all, huge congratulations. Amazing launch. Both now full-time co-bosses of this business. That is a huge feat. How are you guys feeling about that?
It's honestly
Jolie,
super crazy.
you gotta go first.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Avery's story is a little bit different, but for me personally, I've been in the corporate world since I graduated. I was in tech sales for a long time. And then I recently gave my 2 weeks notice because Bach Boss is obviously going to take off and dominate the space. So my last day at my corporate job was this past weekend on Friday. And today, waking up on a Monday, not reporting to a boss and logging on with Avery and figuring out, our to-dos for today was so different, but in the best way possible.
Literally boss.
Goals.
Literally
everything I
boss,
dreamed
boss.
of. Yeah.
Batch, bosh, bosh. I can't even say that.
Bach Boss boss.
There you go. Say it 10 times fast though. But huge congrats. And Avery, how are you feeling?
I'm so excited. Jolie and I, how we got the idea, actually, we're co-maid of honors planning our best friend's Bachelorette. And we've heard just crazy stories. And I'm sure you've experienced some, Marley, of going to a Bachelorette trip, nothing is organized, budgeting is not taken, it's amazing. Everyone wants certain things, but now it's become these 3-day long weekends, right? I just got back from Vegas. Jolie and I are going to one in Miami in 2 weeks. And it's just, how nice would it be? We realized it was kind of like a full-time job to plan a Bachelorette. And we were like, wait, we're kind of good at this. Should we make this our full-time thing? And it's just kind of taken off really since we had the idea maybe in November, opened up the LLC at the end of December, launched end of January. 2 months later, Jolie put in her 2 weeks and we both are going full time. And it's just amazing because not only is it a big deal for Jolie, but it's a big deal for me too, that we're both kind of 2 feet in and we've already dominated so much in 2 months. So I can't wait to see what we're going to be doing 1 year later.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I want to go back a little bit and let's talk about the origin of your guys' friendship. You two were roommates. How'd you meet?
Yeah.
All that jazz.
Do you want to take it, Jolie?
Sure. So it was actually through a mutual friend. The way that it started is my college roommate is Avery's best friend from growing up. I grew up in the New York suburbs. So my parents ended up, when I went to college, moving back into the city. They did the opposite of what most parents do. And they coincidentally moved into Avery's mom, Ramona Singer's building on the Upper East Side. So when I would come home from school, normal people go home and do Thanksgiving Eve with their home friends and go out. I wasn't going home to my hometown. I was going home to Manhattan. Mm-hmm. So I would go out with my college roommate who was friends with Avery from growing up. And that's how Avery and I met. And when we graduated, our friend group all lived at home for a year, like a lot of people do after graduating. Yeah. Our home was the Upper East Side. So we all were on the Upper East Side, going out, hanging out. And then when we decided it was time to move downtown, Avery and I are like, okay, we need to be roommates. We just vibe so hard. So we looked for large apartments and we ended up moving to the Lower East Side together. And that's Avery's favorite part of the story because I can't even explain to you how tiny this room was. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that if you stretched your hands out, you could feel the walls. So Avery and I,
explain it, Jolie. So
it was a partitioned room.
Yeah, we shared a room with a fake wall.
A fake wall. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fake wall because as we know in New York City, like apartments are so small in general. And we really wanted to be in like a 4-bedroom apartment because we were 4 girls, but someone had to split the half of a room. And I was like, I'm willing to do it to be with you, Jolie. Like, I love you, you love me. And now we're kind of business partners, but we literally had this room together. We had a bathroom shuffle. She would cook lunch for me. I would clean, like we've really done it all at this point.
We also had a
And
roach problem in that apartment. So I feel like if we can conquer the roaches, we can conquer anything.
I wasn't scared of the roaches, but some girls are.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're terrifying. And what made you guys want to do this transition of working from someone else, creating your own entrepreneurial path to becoming the bosses, literally, Bach Boss?
Yeah, I think that for me, growing up, watching my mom is super entrepreneurial, has always worn a lot of hats, has done a lot of different businesses. I've always kind of had that entrepreneurial spirit as a result of her. And the goal was always to be my own boss in some way. I didn't think it was going to be at 27, but I also never thought I would be living in Chicago or lived in Austin or like did all these weird things. So it's just part of my path. And I couldn't be more excited to not report to anyone other than myself and Jolie.
Yeah, I would say like for me, I honestly never thought I'd be an entrepreneur. Like I never really minded being in corporate, but I think when you get like the taste of something that's better, it's hard to go backwards. And when we started working on Bach Boss, I just fell in love with it. I realized I was really good at managing myself in terms of just time management, in terms of being efficient, being profitable. Like I just realized like how much potential this business had. And I think like the final push was realizing that if, we were doing this well with me not even being in it full time, how well are we going to do if I, jump in 2 feet and give it my all? I just think we're going to continue to grow and accelerate.
I love that. So you guys mentioned that you guys were co-maid honors doing all these bachelorette. How did the idea come to you that like the service was really needed for somebody else, like a third party, to step in and help these men and women?
Yeah, I think that me being from the finance world, I was working in finance for five years and I pivoted to tech after. I was like, Jolie, let's run an Excel spreadsheet of different pricing for rooms and situations. And Jolie and we work really well together and just like ping pong off each other. And I was like, wow, we're so good at this. And Jolie was like, should we make this a business? It was one of those passing comments. And I just said, yeah, sure. Not really thinking anything of it at the time. But then when Jolie, like we talk obviously every day. And when we were catching up on how our day was going the next day, she was like, so let's talk about the business. And I just kind of like kept going with it. And then I did some research myself and realized that there's not that much competition in this space. It's a really needed market right now, especially as we're talking about these long 3-day weekends. Like before, when my mom had her bachelorette, it was just a dinner in New York City. Now you're going to Cabo or Tulum or Austin or wherever. We're planning one in Lake Como right now. Like, yeah. Okay.
I think it's also like underrated how much this is needed. I mean, you should hear some of these calls that we're on with the brides or with the maid of honors, and people are so grateful to have a service like this. I think it is incredibly stressful nowadays, considering how like luxe these trips are becoming. They're becoming super, super luxe nowadays, and budget tends to be a major concern across all friend groups that we speak with. And I think that it's really important to have a third party who's not necessarily in the friend group, because budget conversations are so awkward. Like no one wants to be that person.
No one wants to do it.
No. So I think it's so important that we can step in and we can assess like what are the most important parts of this trip? Is it getting a table at a club? Is it doing a yacht day? Is it staying in a 5-star hotel or getting a villa? Like we can really help distinguish what's going to be most important and then help divide that budget. And then the other really important part is by using our services, it really ends up paying for itself because of these partnerships we've established. We're able to give our clients steep discounts on like clubs and bottle service and yachts. So we end up saving them a lot of money. So
And the
I think,
swag.
yeah, and the swag, we have great swag partners. So I think there's just a huge need, and there was a gap in the market.
Right. Well, and like also I think about, the first one is so fun. And then the third and fourth, you're kind of like burnt out and like being
For
like,
sure.
oh no, I have to deal with all these factors again of blah, 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 not wanting to do this and blah, blah, blah's budget. It's a lot.
It's a full-time job. Like we like joke, like basically what we say is it's a full-time job planning this a bachelorette. We're making it our full-time job. So don't worry. We're your best friends that you didn't know that you needed that are going to avoid fights for you in advance. We've had brides joke being like, can you be in my bachelorette party or can you be one of my bridesmaids because I'm sick of my bridesmaids now. So I think it's just one of those things where we know and have been to a lot of places and we're using our superpower, which is networking, knowing where to travel, where to stay. And these are like our favorite things to do that it doesn't feel like work.
Oh, I love that because I think the best quote about, entrepreneurship is do something you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And it's like, yes, we go through ups and downs of it, but when you're passionate about it and you're into the things that you're doing, I think that's, so inspiring for other women to hear. Like you can find work that makes you feel that way.
I 100% agree with that. Like I relate to that so much because there were points where I'd wake up in the morning and I would think like, it's just like another day of reporting to the man. Where like now when you actually run your own business, you care about it so much more because it's your money on the line. It's your time on the line. Like it's not the company's, it's yours. So you care way more about it. So obviously you're going to work 10 times harder to make sure that it succeeds because failure just isn't an option when it's your own company.
We literally have like a sticky note of like different like phrases and failure is not an option is like huge in caps.
Love that because failure is just like, to me, it doesn't really exist. And you have to just keep pushing past it because if you keep pushing past it, it's just teaching you lessons.
We're really big on mindset. So totally agree with that.
It's a very it girl mindset. Oh no, you're so fine. That's a very it girl mindset, I think, is like believing like you're just going to keep going until you get there.
I think this mindset stuff is good.
No,
because we got to give it to the people.
Give it to the people.
Okay. So Jolie and I, we have written we have a shared sticky notes and we have a bunch of quotes. And one of the quotes is failure is not an option. And I think that it's really important for people that want to start a business or want to do something. People will always message and ask, when is the right time? When is the right time to move to that city? When is it the right time to move or switch careers? There is no right time. If there was a right time, everyone would be doing it. And I like feel so passionate about this. As you can tell, I'm getting a little like worked up and pumped. But it's one of those things where it's just like, go for it, 2 feet in if you can. And the one thing, like, I'm just thinking of like an abundance mindset, right? Like, I always think that, I got laid off from my tech job. We had this idea, and sometimes the highest highs will come from low moments, right? And so it's like you kind of got to hit the bottom and you can only go up from there. And I think that most of my, like, the best ideas or the best decisions I've done have been from having like really low lows.
I love that because I think people can get really stuck when they hit a low or,
Something that I write and like I truly believe is like nothing is more fearful than being stagnant. Like that's like you always got to keep it moving in different ways because then what's the point of life? There's so much to do and live and experience that it becomes mundane and like a hamster wheel if you're not doing something different.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't agree more. When I feel like I'm in those places, I feel restless because it's like, what's happening?
You always got to push yourself to be uncomfortable because that's how you grow.
Right. And if you're not uncomfortable, like, what, like, don't play it safe. You got one shot. You get one shot at life, just like you get hopefully one shot to have one bachelorette. Like that's why you don't, but I do think about that. Like you don't want to mess it up. You get literally one chance to have your bachelorette. I mean, hopefully, but we'll see.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. I mean, like for a lot of these brides, like it's such a special experience. I mean, really for every single bride, but the whole wedding process, when you think about your shower, your engagement, your proposal, the actual wedding, the honeymoon, like these are all events that I'd say a lot of like little girls dream about forever. So when they're thinking about when it actually becomes time for your bachelorette, sometimes it can be a bit underwhelming when you actually start to plan it and there's fighting over a budget and there's people not picking up the slack and there's nothing good available and it becomes kind of sad. I admittingly am like one of those girls that cries every year on my birthday. I can't
Oh my God,
it. I don't know why. I always just want it to be better than it is. And I definitely cried like every night on my bachelorette, I'm pretty sure. Like, even though it was amazing, I just think people have like ideas of what they want it to be. And I think if we had a service, like even when we were doing mine, I think it would have been insane. You know, Avery and I are literally making these experiences insane for these girls, like handling absolutely everything where they don't even have to think about it, even like the transportation,
ordering ice for the boat, like just literally everything magic is
exactly there. It just makes it so easy, and like you're guaranteed to have an incredible time, because especially even if your friends are stressed out, you're going to read off that energy. If your maid of honor is stressed out, dropping a bunch of cash or super busy texting on their phone the whole time trying to coordinate, like it's not as fun. Like you want a third party to come in and make it amazing for the group.
So let's talk about that. Like, how does this process start? I know you guys start with like an intro call, and then like kind of what happens for those who want to work with you guys.
You want to take it, Jolie?
So yeah, my dog is just like scratching in the background, so it's loud.
We live for the pets.
The process is really seamless. So basically you can either DM us, shoot us an email at info@batchboss.com, or submit an inquiry on our website, which is just batchboss.com. So after we receive that inquiry, we'll kind of field the information to assess if that person's a good fit. Regardless if they're a good fit or not, we're going to reach out and respond. But it just helps us categorize like who's most important in terms of our follow-ups and things like that. In terms of the client experience, they will submit an inquiry, email or DM, receive an email from the girls at Bach Boss, explaining the process and giving them a link to our information kit, which basically has everything they would need to know as well as our pricing. From there, if they're interested in next steps, we send them our calendar link to book a call. And typically we'll do maybe like a 15-minute discovery call, just basically asking about like their dream bachelorette. We ask them to kind of walk us through what their dream weekend would look like. What are the most important parts to them? And most importantly, do they have an idea of budget? From there, we have a 7 business day turnaround time for the initial draft of their itinerary. And then we plug and play with it from there. You know, we'll do numerous edits. We'll talk about what makes sense. We'll add on activities. We'll start talking about decor. Finally, like the final process is if they're in one of our higher tiers, we handle all of the bookings, all of the reservations, everything's locked in, and we finalize it with a super aesthetically pleasing, cute itinerary that they can distribute to their friends. And that is kind of how the process goes down.
I love that. Tell me all the things that you kind of offer. I know that there's merch, as we mentioned, we love merch, and like the transport, on-call concierge. Give us a rundown of the options.
Yeah, so there's 3 different tiers of service because our goal is we can cater to really any budget. So we like to think of our service fee as a baked-in cost to your experience. So if that's with the flight and the Airbnb, whatever that is, just our service fees kind of included. So it could be anywhere from like $50 a person to $125 plus if you're dividing that service amongst the group, which I think overall is pretty fair, especially because it shouldn't fall on one person to plan everything. And like if people just share and split the meals and all of that, what's the big deal to just throw in $50 or $100 extra if you're spending anywhere between, we see people spending from $1,200 to $2,000 plus, right?
Per person,
so in terms of,
obviously, for
yeah, per person. In terms of the tier, so the first tier is the itinerary proposal. So that essentially is, we get a lot of people where they want to go to Cabo or Tulum or Austin and they've never been. So it's just really helpful to just get that like basic itinerary information. We're able to kind of plug and play and help you in a lot of ways with the accommodations and stuff as well, but we do not physically book anything for you. Tier 2 is tier two. We're seeing a lot of tier twos and a lot of tier threes. So the tier two, essentially, that's when we start booking everything for you. We get access to our Batch Boss discount vendors, and we're able to like text our certain partners or email for discounted, people like those like swag bags, those welcome bags, and all of those things. And then really like tier three is the big experience where we're going to help you with decor, with our balloon people, with decorating everything, with making sure we can help stock the Airbnb, help you with the cars, literally whatever you can imagine that you don't know you need, we will be able to help you. And then we're also on call as well.
Wow. I love the range because like, especially if you're traveling so far, you've never been there. Like, how are you supposed to find where you could get somebody to do decor? Like that question has run through my mind a million times.
Exactly. And that's like totally something that we handle because we have partners in all of the major batch cities. So basically, if you're a tier three client, you're going to Scottsdale, you're like, how the hell do I like organize this? How do I make my Airbnb look cute? We have partners in all these destinations. So we'll go in, stock the fridge, make the house or the hotel room look adorable, and handle all of that for you. Because again, like that is another stress, like having to get there in the same group. If you're in the friend group of the bride, having to get there early, make the bride wait outside while you decorate the room. Like it's so much better to show up and everything be done for you.
It seems very TikTok and Instagram perfect. Like it's glorious. Something that is kind of, maybe contradictory or we hear conflicting advice about is working with friends. How do you guys manage working together in this business? I know you guys share that sticky note, you shared a wall, but sometimes people say don't work with friends. How do you guys manage it?
Yeah, so I definitely fair question. And it's something that we really took a step back. And I think it's really important to kind of have these go through like these questions that no one really wants to answer and they're kind of uncomfortable. So we did this whole different like proposal of various questions of what's the biggest fear with working with me and what's the worst case scenario if this fails.
It was basically a co-founder questionnaire that really every co-founder should go through with their other founder to get information about.
Yeah. So we've kind of dealt with all of the uncomfortable questions and conversations. Of course, we butt heads sometimes, but it's very important, even with our friendship, of like we have our work hats and then we have our friendship hats. And if we disagree on something, it's like, okay, I love you, I see you, I hear you. Let's move forward because we got to keep it moving because we're dominating and we don't have time to drag things out.
I love that. It's so important to note, especially being female entrepreneurs in this space, there's, not enough female entrepreneurs and like business owners out there. Since starting Batch Boss, have you guys run into any bumps in the road as women in business?
That's a great question. And the truth is like, it's hard to say because truthfully, I wouldn't say we've dealt with any like real setbacks up to this point.
We've had some tough conversations though with people in the industry, in the nightlife that are maybe in their 50s or things like that, where they're not speaking to us in a very kind way when we're all just trying to help each other. And that's really the goal for all of us, is to help small businesses. If that's with, the floral arrangements, if that's a chef, if that's a yoga instructor, if I can help promote you and bring you business, and if you could promote us in different ways, we all want to win together. And I think that that's our mindset. And, the wedding industry, and some people are a little bit more antiquated and they don't fully get what we're doing. And that's okay, because Jolie and we have volume of inbound of people that are applying to work with us, major brands that are emailing to work with us. And if you don't see our vision, and I say this to Jolie all the time, if they don't see our vision, we can keep it moving because we have plenty of people that will want to work with us.
Agree.
Yes.
Yeah. I do think we're fortunate. Like it's not like we've had like major setbacks to this point. Like I'm sure, there will be bumps in the road. There will be things that happen. Avery's like right in that, like, yes, we've had some more difficult conversations, but I would say we've been pretty fortunate up to this point, and let's hope that it stays this way. But you know what, even if it doesn't, I think that there's no two better people to help like conquer the tough times and move past them. You know, Avery and I we're super dedicated. I'd say we're both very professional, capable, and we just know we're going to get through it all.
Yeah, you both strike me as very professional and very organized. And, you know, being females like that in this wedding space, you know, it's pretty much a female dominated thing. I mean, totally. We love, and the men need some help with the bachelor.
Oh yeah. We're fully trying to lean into the bachelor parties.
It's terrifying what they don't know. But I mean, that's, you know, it is very interesting that, you know, weddings doesn't have something like this, especially females helping other females do it. So it's just lovely to see you guys doing that.
What we're also trying to do and achieve is, and someone that I was connecting with, you know, just how it's so important to get that perfect, like your dress, right? People put in a lot of effort in that. People should also view your bachelorette or bachelor party, but focusing with the conversation for bachelorettes is this is your last time in celebration for you to be single with your girlfriends and really just honor all of that. So why not put that much effort into that as you are spending like thousands of dollars on a dress? Like they should go hand in hand. And we also think that we should be part of a checklist. And that's how we hope to connect with more wedding planners and event planners, where it's like, okay, you get your event planner, you get your venue, you're getting your dress. What's your bachelorette plan? Contact Bach Boss. Okay, you need a band. Like just part of a checklist where we're just like there. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Does that make sense? You know, and Avery, your mom has been in a public eye for a very long time, as have you. And, you know, some people would say maybe that's given you a platform, but you're really out here forging your own path. Like, how do you navigate that as a businesswoman?
Yeah, I mean, like everyone knows I grew up on reality TV since I was 12 and I'm now 27, which is kind of crazy. I feel like I've never fully leaned into, you know, the platform that I could have. And I think that in life, if you want to like use something or ask people for help, you really only get one shot. And I feel like this is my one shot and my one chance to fully just like connect with the people that I know and leverage the platform that I have for good. And I've never been one to ride off my mom's coattails. I've done the finance thing for 5 years. I was in tech for 2 years. I've like tried, I did everything as like a normal person should. And I'm 2 feet in, fully acknowledge I'm very lucky. But if you were in my shoes, you would have probably taken, you know, done something sooner or, you know, ridden the Instagram coattail DM life. I don't know.
No, I love that. I think it's, you know, I think it's very impressive. And, you know, looking at what you guys are doing, it's like you are diving full in. And I love to see that. And it's very empowering to showcase other women.
And we're going on Andy Cohen, which is an amazing opportunity. And we just have a lot of, you know, the brands and the events and things that I'm able to do. I fully recognize it's because of the platform that I've been given. But I also think that we are, as you said, helping a lot of people. And I'm fully here of supporting other women, supporting other small businesses. So if I can give to them, I'm happy to.
Right. And I also think there's, you can have the platform, but if you're not professional, not put together, nobody's going to want to work with you anyways.
Of course. Like, totally.
But you guys are very much not that.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I was just going to say, you know, everyone kind of has connections in life in different ways. And it's really all about building your network. I got my job offers when I was at Cameo from cold DMing people on LinkedIn and things like that. You know, there's for the girl or the guy out there that's like, I don't know where to start. LinkedIn and networking is a really, really powerful thing. What's the worst that can happen? They don't respond. That's fine. You didn't message them anyways. So it's just kind of, I believe in like mass volume of looking at your alumni on LinkedIn where you have connections, asking people for intros, because all you need is one person to kind of build your web. And it's really shown here too with the contacts that we've created. Like we've partnered with 11 in Miami, which is like a really great nightclub. And it all stemmed from like 3 degrees backwards, where it's just one person introed us to another, to another. And that's why I always say yes to every opportunity, any invitation. I will show up alone. I don't care. I moved to Chicago and Austin, not knowing anyone. And it's really amazing to just kind of be open-minded, and everyone kind of starts life in different places, but you can be, you know, one of the wealthiest families that's the most connected, and you could have, you know, issues or whatever it is. We all, you know, it's really, how do you handle situations, right? If I get laid off, I'm like, I'm going to make this positive and I'm going to come up from it. And someone else is like, poor me, woe is me, I don't know what to do. But like, we're both going through the same situation. So it's all about your mindset.
Very it girl, living for that. Jolie, you were married in 2022. First of all, congrats. Big thing. So many of my friends are currently engaged, and you know, it's just like the season of wedding and bachelor and bachelorettes. What are some of the things you loved about your experience? What are some of the things you do differently?
For sure. I was like totally, like I previously mentioned, like was the girl that like dreamt about all of the wedding things.
So I have to interrupt. So Jolie's dad said that, you know exactly what I'm going to say, Jolie. Jolie, growing up, she had 2 folders and like what was the most important to her. And her dad said this in his speech. It was prom and wedding. And like, she's that girl. And that's why we're a perfect match for this, because in ways that I don't have as many strengths, she fully is like dominates and gets the full vision. So sorry, Jolie, but I had to just add that color because it's a great so
accurate. Yeah. So
you were Pinterest before Pinterest.
100%. I literally had like a folder with like cutouts from magazines, like for my wedding. And then when I got a little older, and I saw the movie Wedding Crashers, that like quickly became my like favorite movie of all time. Like anyone who doesn't like that movie, like wake up, what's wrong with you? So that movie I became obsessed with, and I loved the wedding and Wedding Crashers, like what is it, like the governor's daughter or whatever, like it just, I wanted that wedding. And that's like the wedding I had. Like we rented this like 80-foot sailboat and did that night one, and then did like a tent on the lawn at Castle Hill, which is where JFK got married, in Newport. It was very New England. And it was just perfect. But yeah, like I think I loved a lot of the planning. I was totally someone that like had my hand in everything. You know, I would definitely say like I would have given more grace to like some of the people that helped. Like I definitely think I was super harsh at times with like some of the people in the industry that were just trying to help. And like, that's just my personality. And like now being on the other side of it, I'm realizing like it's so important just to like give people patience and grace. And I was not good at that. In terms of my bachelorette, luckily my sister really handled everything, which was super helpful. But in hindsight, it's funny because I talked to her about it now, and she's like, "Oh, it would have been so great. Like if I could have used you guys." Like I think it was really stressful for her. My sister's older than my friends, and she kind of felt responsibility to like handle, you know, all the goodie bags and the reservations and everything. She did everything from the accommodations, and my sister has a full-time job. It was a lot of work, and she was up late nights, and there were some tearful phone calls, you know, and it would have been so nice if like we would have had a service like this just to be able to lean on and take that stress away from the wedding planning process, because there's already so much to do.
You touched on it a little bit, you know, being a person, a patron of weddings and bachelorettes, and now being in the wedding service. How has your guys' perspective changed?
Yeah, I mean, like for me personally, again, like being a bride to now like being a bachelorette planner, like it's crazy how much my perspective has changed. Like I think it's so easy to get wrapped up in like your own, you know, planning and be really like impatient, like I said, with some people. But you have to remember, like these are people's jobs. When you look at wedding planners, when you look at florists, right? When you look at cake designers, like this is how they make their income. And this is like what they choose to do with their lives. And it's important to like give people grace. And it's always important to be clear with your expectations and what you want. But I think like it's the moral of the story is like, be nice to everyone, be respectful. That's always the right thing to do.
Jolie, you're sounding like you were a total bitch to all these people.
I was definitely
wasn't
not
there.
a total bitch, but like I wouldn't say I was like the a ray of sunshine. Like I was like very
Right.
like
Well,
harsh with like what I wanted.
it's one of those things where Jolie and I were definitely like an acquired taste, just like how my mother is. But we mean well, but we have visions and we like to move fast. So I think it's definitely like that's kind of where you're coming from. And Jolie's definitely not like a BI or right. Isn't that like the like
I
kosher
have
word?
no
Or
idea what that is. Like what?
oh, that's what my mom would say. She's like, don't be a BI. But like, my mom just like makes everything up. So maybe
We
that's
live for
actually
it.
not.
It's a thing now.
Thing. Like, I don't know. I know, I say things wrong because of her and like acronyms are wrong. So like she maybe made it up and she just said it to me sometimes and I just thought it was a thing. Clearly not. I don't know. We'll have to Google it after. But yeah, I think that we've just learned a lot. We also learned that there's a lot of space to grow just like in the industry. It's a little bit antiquated in some ways. And there's so many like great partnership opportunities of, again, all just helping each other and who we know and ways we can partner. That is, just the whole bridal industry. And I think that because of social media now, everything is Instagrammable and TikTok. There's lots of eyeballs on everything where it's, become a beast versus when our parents got married.
That is so true. It feels like when I talked to my mom about it, she's like, that didn't exist. That wasn't a thing. It's so from what you said very at the beginning, going out to dinner to like a 3-day weekend. It's a massive difference.
I don't know who allowed for this to happen. And like also it's just kind of crazy like thinking about it because we are in the first wave of engagements. Jolie married her college boyfriend who's now her husband and he's amazing. And one of my girlfriends is marrying her high school sweetheart. This is like the first wave, right? But then there's going to be another wave of like the people who met in their later 20s. And it really does all add up. And I don't know how this is happening or really like I'm concerned like how I can afford going to all these things and bachelorettes and weddings and picking and choosing. And I think that like that's like a real conversation that, as Jolie said, people get really caught up in their mind and their vision and where they lose track of you're not the only bride. There's a lot of things that are happening. And that's why it's really important to have that third party where it's like, I am attending your bachelorette. I want to do everything as much as I can, but I'm not going to break the bank or break my savings or not make rent to make you happy. And please know it's because I love you but like love doesn't mean money. And I think like that needs to become a bit more talked about as I'm experiencing it. And these conversations, as we said, are really, really tough. So I think, again, being that third party of like, bride, you want that boat, amazing. Then you have to spend the money or like ask your family or ask your fiance because like it's not fair.
Yes, I couldn't agree more because nothing's worse than that bill to damper the mood of a situation.
Yeah, when you get like that large Venmo request. Yeah.
Terrifying. So let's wrap it out with a few or like favorite tips, location, activity. What's something people are doing that you guys are just really into right now?
I'd say like my like probably favorite trend that's happening is steering away from the hotels and groups doing Airbnbs in whatever location they're in. Avery and I have noticed that their experience can be so special while saving money by doing an Airbnb. It gives them the flexibility for us to send in yoga instructors, chefs, bartenders to the house directly. And it just makes it so much fun doing pool parties at the house or wherever you are. So I think anyone that has the opportunity to like do an Airbnb somewhere, that's definitely the move for a bachelor or bachelorette.
100%. And we're really big too on balancing the weekend where it's not just go, 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 go and have too many activities. I think like some of the favorite moments are just sitting on that couch and telling stories and laughing. And if it's just ordering pizza or having a chef night or whatever that looks like. for our brides who are doing the Airbnbs, we always recommend like that Saturday night chef night or like ordering in pizza, because after like going out Thursday, Friday, whatever that looks like, and you're leaving really early on Sunday, probably to catch a flight back. It's just like, let's like make it easy on everyone and just like chill.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great tip because people burn out. Guys, please tell everybody where we can find you, everything about Bach Boss, Instagram. Give us the details.
Yeah, so our website is batchboss.com. To submit an inquiry, you just have to go to book now in the inquiry form on our website. You could follow us on Instagram at batchboss_. We also recently just created a TikTok that we will actively be posting on more, which is the Bach Bosses. And am I missing anything? We're going to update
Your
our
handle.
Give us
at
yours.
Jolie Lauren.
At Jolie Lauren is my personal. I post some cute things.
Underscore.
Oh yeah, at Jolie Lauren _. I'm learning. Help. SOS.
And I am at Avery Singer. No underscore.
No underscore on yours. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time to be here. Congrats again on the business. I cannot wait to see this just pop off.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Anyone who's getting married, any friends, hit us up. And especially you, Marley, like we're happy to help in any way we can. So just let us know.
I will. Thank you guys so much.